All right, Parnelli, Al, Ari, did any of you have an experience like that? Parnelli, I mean, how did you earn a living when you were a kid? Did you have some weird jobs?
Tell them about the concrete business, Parnelli.
Well, actually, first of all, when I first started driving old jalopies and things like that, I was living at home with my mother and father, and I was making about probably running 3 times a week, probably making $50 a week. And I thought, man, I'm making enough money, I won't never have to work again, I finally, figured, man, I'm getting close to $10,000, and I thought, boy, if I could ever make $10,000, I know I wouldn't have to work again. I could just live off the interest, which was about 10% at that time, living with my parents. But anyway, so I kind of set goals for myself. And finally, I was fortunate to work up the ladder, so to speak, and pocketed $100,000. And when I pocketed $100,000, I thought, I know I'm never going to have to work again. But anyway, I've been fortunate, so that's kind of my story, how I started. And I never really had to work. I did, in my early days, something to keep my old jalopies running. I did a little cement work, which gave me an uncanny desire to drive the car a little harder.
In 1956, I joined 55, I joined the United States Marine Corps Reserve. And we went to summer camp at Camp Pendleton for 2 weeks. And Central 5. So I get through with camp, and I go to my mother's house in Fullerton, California, and they loan me their car, and I start going. I went up to Curtis Craft and looked in the shop there, and I went by A.J. Watson's house where he built them in his garage on the concrete floor. And I went to Gardena Speedway and watched the jalopy races. And the hero in the jalopy races was one Parnelli Jones. And he also, that day, they did a demonstration run with 2 sprint cars. And I'm not sure if that wasn't your first sprint car ride at Gardena, but it was Clem Tebow's Arjun Ford. And Parnelli put on a demonstration run. So that's how long I've known about Parnelli Jones.
Al, did you have unique employment as a young fellow?
Well, my dad put me in a go-kart when I was 9 years old, and
so you didn't have to work.
No, I did have to work on the go-kart.
That's not what I meant.
I did have to work. So, but not only did I have to work on the go-kart, but I had to get good grades in school. And so there was a couple times that I didn't bring home good grades in school, and things were taken away from me. And in particular, 1978 was my rookie year driving a sprint car. I was 16 years old. I was a sophomore in high school, and I went from driving the go-kart straight into a sprint car. And I did good too. and I was running the sprint car, and the month of May rolled around, and I convinced my father that I could go stay at one of his friends' house for the month of May, because Dad always left for the month of May. And so I was staying at a place, Don Morgan's house, which is a friend of my father, and I would drive to school, and once Dad left, instead of driving to school, I drove to Dad's house, and I didn't go to school for about 2 weeks. And I finally got caught, and I was doing really well in the sprint car too. I finished fourth in the main event the week before I got in trouble, and that put me in the trophy dash for the next weekend. I was really doing really well, and then all of a sudden I got caught ditching school, and boy was I in trouble. I was grounded bad. The sprint car was taken away from me. You know, that was pretty much my first time being a professional race car driver, and so on. And it was very embarrassing. I got it taken away from me. And what else I got taken away from me was coming back to Indy that year. And my sisters got to come back to Indy that year. And the only thing that saved me from not being here today, because Dad was ready to come home and kill me. Okay? The only thing that stopped that was my dad winning the 500. And when he came home, and I was really upset because my sisters got to go to Victory Lane and all that stuff, and the photos on Monday morning and all that, you know, after the race, and Dad came home, and the first words, he came to my school when he came back into town, and I came up running and gave him a big hug and said, "Way to go, Dad!" And the first thing, he just pulled me back and said, "I don't know if I should kill you or if I should hug you, you know, but I'm going to hug you because it was an awful good weekend last week."